and I'm the girl behind Autodidact Journey. Before I get started with all the awesome videos I have planned for you guys, I thought I would take a moment to tell you guys a little bit about me and why I'm doing this channel and what I plan to do with this channel. So, I am the oldest of 7 children, and I was homeschooled for most of my life. I did go to a charter school in ninth and 10th grade. I do not like the structure of this video. Okay, we are. Okay, outline. Okay, guys, I am back with an outline in this trusty notebook. My name is Liliana, and I am, I guess you would call it, an alumni of homeschool. So I was homeschooled for most of my life. I went to a charter school in ninth and 10th grade and a little bit into 11th grade. But besides that, it was just homeschool. And I had a blast doing that. I got to meet so many cool people, including some of my best friends in the entire world, and I learned so much and had so many amazing opportunities, and I'm really grateful for that experience. Outside of academics, I love reading. I will read just about anything as long as it's well written. Some of my favorites are Shakespeare. I love An Ember in the Ash by, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce her name. I think it's Seba Tahir. I really like the How to Train Your Dragon series. I have grown to love Lord of the Rings. That was definitely an acquired taste. But those are just some examples on like the fictional side. But I also really enjoy nonfiction. I love history. I love political science. I am interested in synthetic biology, but it's definitely, that one's a bit of a struggle to understand. I really like biographies. I play guitar. I also play piano, and I play viola. I also do some sewing, and I crochet. Yeah, so, oh, also, I really like chocolate, ice cream, fried chicken, pickles, and cheesecake. That's a little bit about me. Let's talk about educational journey, because this is an educational channel, so obviously it's the important thing here. Like I mentioned, I was homeschooled for most of my life. That looked a lot like mostly self-directed studies. Obviously, my mother was involved in a lot of that. I took courses with Khan Academy. We were involved in some local co-ops, which, if you aren't familiar with that term, a co-op is a collection of families that come together with the intention of hosting classes or events for their children. I was involved in 2 or 3 co-ops. I took some amazing classes and met some really cool people. For example, I did a creative writing class, I did a forensic science class, I did a debate and constitution class, I took a nutritional class, just some fun stuff there. And I thoroughly enjoyed my time with co-ops. I was also enrolled in a charter school for ninth and 10th grade, and then about a month into 11th grade, and then I ended up dropping out and just going back to homeschooling. Another thing that was really huge in my educational journey was Thomas Jefferson Education, commonly known as TJED. Thomas Jefferson Education is this educational philosophy that focuses on an education that empowers people to live up to their greatest potential and take ownership for their education and become lifelong learners. And the creators of this philosophy, Oliver and Rachel DeMille, wrote some excellent books on this, which my mother discovered when I was young-ish. I think like 9 or 10. And she started talking about them, and I was like, this sounds interesting. Let's check it out. So I read some of the books. I was very intrigued by this philosophy at a young age, so I ended up reading some of the books, and I fell in love with the idea of an education that prepares you not just to like graduate high school, which is kind of important in this world, slightly, but also that prepares you for some, to be a part of something magnificent. And little old me was like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Where do I sign up? My family was implementing those principles as we homeschooled, and the DeMills have this online class called TJ Ed High. It was a huge part of my education in 7th, 8th, and 9th grades. And then I got too busy at the charter school, so I dropped out of that. When I dropped out of the charter school, I enrolled in their advanced course called TJ Ed High Advanced. And I studied there in 11th and 12th grades, and that was one of the best experiences of my entire life. I met some of my best friends from that class and learned so much. It was a blast. After high school, I was accepted into a college, but things didn't work out and I ended up withdrawing. I moved to Arkansas for 8 months, and then after that I returned to my home state. But while I was in Arkansas, I had a really formative experience, which I think I can credit this channel to that specific experience. I had the opportunity to work with my best friend to run a co-op class for 12 to 18-year-olds. And what we decided to do for this co-op class was we were going to put these kids through a simulation of essentially like a post-World War III apocalypse United States. It was a very fun experience. It was also a very challenging experience, and I learned so much during that. On, like, of course, like how to run a simulation, which I've participated in simulations before, but I had never helped run a simulation. So that was very informative. It also taught me how much of the way I think about homeschooling and the way I think about education I just take for granted. Like, a lot of people don't have the perspectives and the philosophies that I have about homeschooling, which I don't think there's any one right way to educate. But another thing that I noticed was a bit of a struggle was that there's all these principles of education and like here's the ideal that we're going to aspire to. And then you're like, okay, that's a beautiful idea. I love it. Let's do this. And then you go to your life and it's messy and chaotic. And you have younger siblings knocking on your door at every which hour. The sink is full of dirty dishes. Mom's busy. Dad's at work. It's just like, okay, so how exactly do I apply this? Or maybe you've been studying really well and then you're in a slump. Or you're really stuck on something on like this subject or this book or this class. And it's like, okay, cool. How does this actually work in real life? Because ideals are beautiful and magnificent, and real life is messy and complicated, and nothing ever goes according to plan. So, how do you take all these principles and you actually apply them to your life in a way that's practical and sustainable? I realized that one, there's a huge knowledge gap in how you actually apply that. There are so many fantastic philosophies of homeschooling, but a lot of them struggle to explain how it actually works when you get your hands dirty. And then two, I realized that I actually know a lot of this stuff because these are things that I have struggled with and that like they are challenges that I've had to work through and fight through and figure out how to overcome largely on my own. I had amazing mentors and amazing parents who tried their best, but like I'm a first generation homeschooler and there's some things that you don't understand how to work through unless if you've actually lived through it. But I have that perspective. And I understand a lot of the challenges that come with homeschooling, especially through high school and also coming out of high school. And I also understand how to work through a lot of those, which is why I decided to start this channel. My goal for this channel is to give people the tools they need in order to make self-education practical. So I'm going to do that by giving you guys the tips and the tricks that I've picked up while navigating homeschooling and pull back the curtains to show you guys what self-education looks like in real time. Like, how do I apply these principles in my life? What does self-education look like post-high school while I'm also working full-time? And especially when I'm not doing traditional college. Basically, what I want to do here is I want to make homeschooling approachable and kind of cool because I love homeschooling and it has been such a blessing in my life, and the principles that I've learned from there of a lifelong pursuit of learning has blessed me so much, and I want to share that with you guys. And I am super excited for what's to come. So, I will see you next time. child. We are going to have some fun on this channel, okay? It's going to be a blast. A wild, chaotic, undisciplined blast, but a blast nonetheless. Hey guys, this is editor me popping in. Thanks for watching. Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing, and I will see you next time.